Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Now I get the opportunity today to show off some craftsmanship by one of my viewers. Now being in the social media, whether it's YouTube or Facebook, and in this particular case on Instagram, I have the fortune of running into some very talented people. And this case is no different. So in my search for unique products and unique people who do interesting things, I bumped into a guy named Jonathan. He lives in Germany, and what he does is he carves handmade little beads. And so I kind of took a liking to his work. I contacted him and asked him if he'd be willing to work on a project with me, and he said he was, and this is what we came up with. Now, I do take a liking to the Punisher. I'm not a very big comic book guy, but you know, if there was one that I'd gravitate towards, it would be the Punisher. And so I asked him if he could make a Punisher bead, and this is what he made. Now, Jonathan uses a Mora carving knife with a short blade and a flex cut carving jack to do his work. And even though this is small, it has some pretty nice detail. Neat little finishes. Has almost a weathered look. He paints it. Puts a lot of time and detail into each and every piece that he makes. Now here you'll just see some examples of Jonathan's work. Very nice detail. Intricate little details on each and every one of his pieces. And that's really what caught my attention. I mean, here you see a lot of examples of superheroes and Star Wars characters, but that's not all he can do. You know, I've talked to him a little bit through email, and, you know, as soon as I told him I wanted a Punisher bead, he basically thought it would be something completely in his wheelhouse. So, you know, there are all sorts of different things that you can try to talk to him about if you're interested in different types of beads or different type of product. It's certainly something that he can customize for you, and these are just some excellent examples of his work. Now there's a number of things you could do with this. You could use it as a keychain. You could put it on a backpack and add a little bit of style. For me, I thought not only would this add some style, but some pretty good function. Let's talk about it. So here it is again, my Benchmade Arvensis. You know, this is going to be my go-to camp knife, and I really see me putting some use into this thing. And, you know, now that I've done some modifications, I want to continue to kind of trick it out a little bit. And I thought this bead would be the absolute perfect way to do that. And so, you know, not only is this going to add a little bit of style, but it's going to also add some functionality. And what I'm going to do is basically build this bead into my lanyard system to give me a little more grip when I'm choking back on the knife. So for example, say I was to lock this behind my pinky while I'm gripping the knife, that's going to give me a real good quality anchor to avoid the knife slipping out. And you have to imagine these beads are large enough that in reality, once I get that into my fingers or into my pinky, that's going to give me a real nice spot to lock onto. And so I'm going to do a little bit of work now and use what he's already started to my advantage. I'm going to use a couple of these items that he has. You know, taking a look at this little lanyard, he's made it using basically a snake knot, which is kind of my go-to knot for typical lanyards. And so let's see what I can do. I'm gonna play around a little bit and get this thing onto my blade. So basically all I'm going to do is start to make a lanyard the way that I typically do. If you haven't seen my video yet on making my knife lanyards, I suggest you check it out, and that will give you a little more in-depth detail about what I'm going to do. But I'm just going to get this thing started, start making my knots, start establishing my lanyard, and then at some point I will add the bead. So just getting this thing started, and I'll work for a little bit here to get this lanyard going. Now, as part of Jonathan's design, he used these nuts to basically create spacers, and so I'm going to use these as well. I think it adds a little bit of style It's pretty cool, and just gives me a little bit of a different texture for the final product. So I'm basically just going to continue to use these and slide them on, get them into place, and then continue to work this lanyard. All right, so there you have it. Pretty badass if you ask me. I think this thing looks great and just adds a little bit of touch, a little bit of flair, a little bit of interest to this blade. Continuing to customize my Benchmade 119 Arvensis. I mean, just taking this thing from a stock standard blade to something that's totally customized. So at this point, I'm pretty psyched. I think this looks awesome. Definitely adds some style, adds functionality. I mean, at this point, if I want to choke back on the knife, I can use this lanyard and really get back here, and that bead is just going to completely lock into place, so there's no way this knife is going to slip on me. Gives me a good quality anchor point where that thing is not going to come out. And so, you know, there's a couple of ways I can approach this. You know, if I want, I can actually just literally grab onto that bead and get a hold of it with my pinky there, keep it in my hand. It's not quite as secure as if I just choke back and use that as almost like an anchor point, but there's a little bit of adjustment I can make. I mean, at this point, it pretty much is set how it is. Obviously, I set this lanyard up so that I can take it off and use it on multiple knives. So it is very versatile, gives me some style, added functionality. I'm pretty pumped. So, all right, guys, there you have it. A really cool, personalized, custom, handmade bead by one of my followers. Thank you very much, Jonathan. I appreciate this, man. It is just totally cool. You know, I think those of you who are watching, if you see the use, the benefit, the style, the quality, the talent that goes into these little beads, I think you should reach out to him. Definitely see if there's something that he can make for you. You know, it's an interesting thing to be able to customize your gear and customize your blade, and to really be able to support somebody else while you're doing it is just excellent. So, you know, that's what I try to do. I always try to support people who are talented because, you know what, a lot of people have really supported me, and I appreciate that. So, anyway, Jonathan, great work, man. I really, really appreciate that. So, all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.